Hello, hello. So today's topic is box plots. So if you've got this paper, you can just follow along with me. If not, happy writing and drawing. So this is box plots, and this is actually more than just standard 4. I'm going to add another standard to this. It does talk about box plots in standard 4 with histograms, line plots, and dot plots, but it talks about that 5-point summary in standard 5. So I do want to kind of do a /5 on this just to kind of stay up to date. So I'm going to go through the steps in creating a box plot, which most of you already know from our quartiles and interquartile range. So step 1, and bear with me as I color this up. At a point I will stop the coloring and I will fill in my colors later so that it'll look good, but I don't want to take forever on this. Step 1 is to order the data. Always put your data in order. So order the data and find the mean. Now the median, not the mean, the median. I do want to remind you that is known as quartile 2 because a box plot is created by those 3 quartiles and also the lowest number, the minimum, and the highest number, the maximum. That is step 1. Step 2 is to find the median of the lower half, quartile 1. So find the median of the lower half. And that is Q1. Isn't it great to have these abbreviations for quartiles so that you do not have to actually handwrite everything? Oh my. Step 3, we're going to do the same thing, but with the upper half. So step 3 is to find the median of the upper half. And of course, that is Q3, quartile 3. I'm going to zoom this in a little bit. I'm trying to look behind me to see some of this stuff, so bear with me. Step 4, we need a number line. So we are going to draw and number. I'm going to abbreviate that with a symbol. That's not a hashtag, by the way. Draw and number the number line. Then we are going to place a dot above the minimum and maximum numbers. I'm going to abbreviate minimum, M-I-N, and maximum, M-A-X, numbers. And down here, I will go through the creation of this. I'm actually going to stop on step 4, and I'm going to utilize this down here to create that instead of just telling you. And we have the data. So I'm going to stop, like I said, on step 4 because I don't want to confuse you even more. And the first thing was to order this data. So to put it in order, we would have 11, 12, 12, and it may help you to do little check marks above it. I don't ever mark through the numbers, but you could do that if you want. I normally only do that if I'm not utilizing it for notes purposes because I want to look back and see this. Then I have 1, 2, 3 14s. There's my 3 14s. I have a 16 and lastly an 18 that is already in its correct placement. Alright, that was the first step, and then we had to find the median. I do notice there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers in my data set, which is amazing because that means there is one middle number. There's one true median, and he happens to be this guy. I love it when it works out that way. So our median here is 14. Now it says on step 2 to find the median of the lower half. Our lower half has 4 numbers in it, which is not preferred, but it's okay. There are 2 middle numbers, which means neither are the median. The median is actually between them. And if I were to add 12 and 12, divide by 2, I would indeed get 12. 12 is our quartile 1. And you know what? I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to label underneath what these guys were. This was Q1, or is, I should say, since we are speaking about him. This was, past tense, quartile 2. All right, then we have to step 3, find the median of the upper half. Again, I have 4 numbers. I should have 4 here and here. And the median lies between 14 and 16. I know in my head what's there because I count 14, 15, then 16. But if I did not know that, I would add them, 14 plus 16, and divide by 2. And I would get 15. And again, that is my quartile 3. All right, so there is step 1, step 2, and step 3. Now, step 4 was to number the number line. We have our number line down here. We need to number him. My lowest number is 11 and my highest is 18. So I'm going to start my number line. I think I'm just going to start him at 10 and then just keep going till I run out of little markings. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I have obviously added a little bit too many, but that is quite all right. All right, now our next step was still step 4. It said to place a dot above the minimum and maximum number. So basically we're labeling them, but not on the number line, above the number line. So I'm talking in terms of 11. He is my minimum number. He's also known as the lower extreme. So he's got a couple of names. And I'm going to do my dot just floating right above. Notice normally we would plot the dot right there, but we're making a box plot. So we don't want it to be on the number line. It needs to be hovering above. Then the maximum number, I'm abbreviating again. He is not the lower extreme. He is the opposite of that. He is the upper extreme. And he is 18. And I want to try to make these, they're on the same line the best I can. Eyeball that a little bit. And there he is. Okay, now we're ready for step 5. Step 5. We will place a dot above all the quartiles. So Q1, Q2, Q3, and then we're going to draw a line through each. I am running out of room. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I need a dot above 12, a dot above 14, and again I'm trying to keep them in line here, and a dot above 15. Then I need to draw a line, vertical line that is, through each. And he doesn't have to be that long. I'm trying to keep these about the same length though. Now, we are going to make our box. Make your box. The box goes around the quartiles. Because if you remember in our discussion of the quartiles, the IQR is actually the size of the box. The last piece of creating our whole box plot, I'm going to add it right here, is to add segments, line segments that is, to the extremes, meaning the minimum and maximum numbers. Hey, I did pretty good keeping these in line. Not so shabby. And I would like for you to go ahead and just make a little side note over here that the box should hover above the line. I'm going to say box plot, I better add that on there, hovers above the line. That's often a misconception of creating these guys. And you won't have to necessarily create them very often, but you just never know. Alrighty, And then the very last thing we're going to do is look at the stuff at the bottom. Oh, I did indicate that the box was the IQR, didn't I? Let's label that IQR before we go any further. And you know what? I'm going to come back later and I'm going to highlight that box to indicate the IQR, which in this case is the difference between 15 and 12. So going down here, the actual box, which I told you was the IQR, it's actually where 50% of the data is. And we talked about this the other day, if you guys remember. 50% of your data is right there in that box. So half of the data you're given is shown by the box, as it should be. Then each little whisker, I'm going to write this in the box because you know what? Why not? Each whisker or extension represents 25%. Naturally, all percents are out of 100, so if we deduct the 50, we're left with another 50. And then we have 2 items to split it between. Over here to the right, a little quick example of reading this. You need to know how to read it in terms of where and what everything is. So if I'm looking at this box plot, I may not have the dots there, but I know it's there. For this box plot, the median, I'm going to start with the median, he is 20. The first quartile, or the median of the lower half, is 15. The second quartile, or median of the upper half, is 25. In terms of the size of the box, or the IQR, the range here would be 25 to 15. Remember, IQR is a measure of variability, okay? So it tells you how widespread the data within your box, which represents half of the data, is. So the difference between 25 and 15 does leave me with 10. And then the range of the entire box plot that I'm given would be where I take my upper extreme. I might even say, hey, the UE for upper extreme, which is what, 35? And I subtract the lower extreme, which is 5. Don't mess up and put the lowest number on your number line. That's a very common error. And the difference here is 30. And there you have it. That is your box plot. Now all I'm going to do is come back and color some of these things up with highlighters because we all know that is my favorite, and then I am done for the day. Hope you guys have a wonderful day.